Hello everyone, hope you guys doing well. It's me, Janatul Ferdos, and my channel is Parenting and Positivity. So today I have a guest, very special guest, as I mentioned before. I'm gonna bring a specialist. So it's Miss Christina. She's a teacher. She's doing her job for like 10 years. She had a great experience of teaching and working with kids. So let's introduce my guest first.
Hi, my name is Christina Cassione. I've been a special ed teacher now for a while, and I'm excited to sit with Miss Jones today.
Yeah. So I'm gonna ask her some questions about kids, how she deal with kids, and she has so many experiences with working with kids. So let's see how important information we get from today. Hopefully you guys can learn so many things today. So I know you are working with kids for a long time and you have like so much experience with that. So I'm gonna ask some questions to Miss Christina. Um, how can parents support learning and discipline at home without being too strict? I mean, what's your idea or what's your experience?
My best advice, speaking from both a teacher standpoint and like I've worked in homes with different parents and children as a babysitter, is it's all about balance. So it's important to start with an open line of communication with your kids. The more you can speak to them through their hardships, through their victories, through everything, they'll feel comfortable confiding in you. And then when you have those difficult moments, you can level with them and you can really talk through it and try to work through it before the behaviors get bad.
So, what's the better motivator for kids, rewards or consequences?
Truly, I lean more toward rewards, but only when it's appropriate. I don't think we should be reinforcing bad behaviors, but I do think when the behaviors get too bad, then they need to understand certain actions do have consequences. But again, when you reward kids for their good behavior, for their victories, for the great things that they're doing, then they're more likely to continue doing that.
Okay. So also, so I do have a few more questions. So how do you handle a child who is, I mean, who doesn't really listen no matter what? Like whatever you do, no reinforcers, nothing is working. So in that time, what do you do? And what do you think parents should do in that situation or with that kid?
That's definitely a question I get often, and it can be very hard when you are faced with a child that doesn't respond to rewards, doesn't respond to consequences. And I find that if you really know your child and you know what it is that they love the most or they don't like the most, then you can kind of use that as more of a motivator. You have to find that thing that's going to motivate them because every child has something that they'll work for, that they'll want, and that's what you have to do. You have to try to get them to work for it.
Okay. So So another thing is like what signs should parent look for when something might be wrong? I mean, emotionally or socially, when parents should know like this is not good for their kids. Like it could be either emotionally or socially.
Yeah, I think a lot of kids show signs through the words they say, through their actions, when students start to feel or when children start to feel disconnected or you notice they're not really engaged in a lot of things, they don't find interest in certain television shows or food, or you just realize this lack of like interest, lack of
So is
disconnect.
that mean are they depressed or something else?
It could be, yeah. It could indicate that maybe they're showing signs of depression. It could also mean they're struggling with something that they maybe don't want to talk about. And it's our job as parents and as role models to find out what our kids are struggling with and help them.
Okay. And also, like in like nowadays, like watching phone or iPad, it's like terrible to kids. Like they keep watching phone, they keep play video games. So in that situation, like how do you recommend like setting healthy screen time boundaries in this digital world? Like how do you think?
I think you said it perfectly. I think we have to set boundaries.
Yes.
There has to be a time limit. And, for younger kids, it could be a timer that says, all right, for 10 minutes is screen time, but then after that, we shut it off. And really, you have to be the best example. The parents are the ones that we're always on our phones, we're always scrolling. So if you set that example of when we're together, and we're not on our screens, your kids will follow.
Some kids, they just too obsessed with videos, and when you turn it off, they act like crazy. In that situation, I mean, what should a parent do to control this? Because in school maybe they are under control, but at home they are not, and parents are being like so frustrated to see their kids reaction. They give up sometimes. So what should they do?
Yeah, that's difficult when the kid doesn't want to give up the screen. Then you have to limit it even more. Then it's like, well, if we can't respond appropriately after screen time has ended, then we don't get screen time. It has to almost be like a hard boundary of, in my opinion, I think if the kid is flipping out every time you take the iPad away, then you say, well, I can't give you the iPad because you're not understanding that when we're done with iPad, we're done with
Can
iPad.
they use as a reinforcer?
You could, honestly, if you use it the right way, you don't want to reinforce to them that like, oh, if I throw a tantrum, I'll get what I want. But, you could use the reinforcers like, all right, if we appropriately get off the iPad, then we get this reinforcer.
Yeah. Sometimes some kids say, I hate school. I don't want to go to school. So, what's the best way to respond when some child or kids say, like, I hate school?
You try to give them the positives of school. You try to say, oh, when we go to school, we learn new things. We get to see our friends. We see our teachers. And you try to give them something to reinforce them that like we like school and we want to go to school
Yeah. I
and
mean,
we learn things at school.
uh-huh. Okay. So it's good like when you work here and when the kids goes home, it's good to work like together as a team, as a teacher and a parent too. So what's the best way to, I mean, how can parents work with teacher to help their kids succeed in the future? I mean,
I I always communicate with the parents and tell them this is what's going on at school, whether the kid had a good day or a bad day, or things that we find are working at school, whether it's reinforcers or other kind of motivation. I try to keep an open line of communication with the parents so that the interventions we're using at school stay consistent at home. And
yeah.
for those students, it always seems to work.
Okay. So we are almost done with our interview, and I have one more question. Like, what advice do you have for parents of kids who are shy, anxious, or struggling to make friends? Like, they always have struggled to go anywhere to make friends, connect with people. Yeah. But you,
Like the best way to boost their confidence, I would say, is celebrating the little things they do. Teach them new things, and as they master each step, celebrate it. It's great, even if they're just making baby steps toward the big goal. Celebrate the little victories and be that role model for them. That everything is a positive, whether we're still working on it or if we master something. Then great. Look, you learned a new skill. You figured out. It could be anything. You could teach your kids how to cook. You could show them that like, oh, we can make friends through cooking together, or we can play together and go out and be social. The best thing we can do is be a good role model for our kids.
Mhm. Thank you so much to be
Thanks for
here with
interviewing me
me
today.
today, and it was really great. I hope my audience learned so much from you, and they would Lot to learn more. Maybe one day again, I'm gonna make another video with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, so today my episode is finishing here. Maybe next day I will meet with another specialist or any guest parent. Till then, bye bye.